Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm going to show you another recipe today. We're going to make some pasta with pesto. So we start with the ingredients. We got here some fresh basil, pine nuts, a little bit of garlic, parmesan, and olive oil. That's the main ingredients. So we're going to start right away. The basil leaves, they've been washed and all the stems have been removed. So see, like all the stems like this, everything, the more you can remove the better. The leaves are nice and tender. Actually, this basil, it's a little bit too big. The leaves are a little bit overgrown. It would be better if you had like smaller leaves like that are more tender and makes they would make a nicer better texture pesto. But that's what we have. We cannot go out and buy, so we're just going to go with this. Garlic. We're just going to put a little bit of garlic. This one is raw garlic that you put in this recipe, so it's not like a cooked garlic, so it's going to be a lot stronger. We cut it in half, and you can remove the little sprout in the middle, and that will make the garlic not that strong. I'm just going to put a little bit. Look, it's up to you how much you want to put. I love garlic, but I don't really like too much the raw garlic, so we're just going to put a little bit like that. Goes into the blender. For this amount, we should be fine of using a blender like this, and we'll see when we start blending if it's too much. If it's not enough basil, then we're going to use a stick blender. So you can either use a blender like this or a stick blender. This one will probably make a smoother pesto. The stick blender will make it more chunky. So we got garlic in there. We're just going to put a little bit of salt, and then we're going to put pine nuts. There's about 100 grams of basil leaves here, and this is about 50 grams of pine nuts. They don't have to be toasted, they just go in like that. And the trick is you put your olive oil, which is extra virgin olive oil, in the fridge. Okay, so this one has been in the fridge for about an hour. It doesn't have to get, if you leave it too long, what's going to happen, the olive oil will get thick. You don't want to get to that point, but about an hour, so it makes it cold, and that will help the leaves to stay a little bit greener. So we're just going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. You kind of have to go by feeling with the olive oil. I add about, what's this, 150 mils of olive oil here. So we'll see at the end how much is going to be left, and we'll know how much I have put in. So blender, put it in, and we start blending, hopefully. Okay. So start blending. Just blending the pine nuts and the olive oil right now, and now you can see in here there's a nice it's nice and smooth. All right, we clean the sides. Consider with the pesto, the more you blend it, the darker it will get, and the flavor will also change. This is not the traditional recipe. The traditional recipe, you would normally do it in a mortar and pestle, so that the texture of the final product will be very different to what it is this one. Alright, so now we are ready to put the basil in. Just gonna put everything inside. Going to go like this. It's important that the basil is nice and dry, so I washed it about a couple of hours ago and let it dry here on this nice cloth. Now we got the basil leaves in. Gonna close it. And we start blending again and see what happens. We might have to add a little bit more olive oil for sure, but we'll add it slowly. Okay. You can hear my son complaining in the back. He's probably hungry. So see, now the basil is blended. We might have to swap to the other blender, but we'll see. Okay, so we just put a little bit more olive oil. You don't want to overdo it. Blend it again. Okay. So I now transfer the pesto from the big blender to the small one, ready to go. In the meantime, we can drop the pasta that is already salt in the water. So we drop the pasta. Normally, you would have, the more traditional recipe would have pasta with green beans and potato. I'm sorry, I don't have any green beans. I'm just going to put potatoes. And you can put everything together and let it cook all together. So back to the pesto, we're going to put Parmesan. The traditional recipe is normally pecorino, so a sheep milk cheese, but I don't have any, so we're just going to put Parmesan, which will work also very well. See, out of all that amount of basil, you're not going to get much pesto at all. So generous amount of Parmesan in, and we just keep blending with this one now. Might add a bit more olive oil. So I added almost everything. It's up to you how smooth you want it. See, it's nice and chunky. Still a little bit of chunks in there. Nice flavor. Yeah, salt is beautiful. You can always add a little bit more, but yeah, it's up to you how smooth you want it, but I like it like this, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna transfer this one into a bowl. In the meantime, the pasta will be cooking, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do after. So, little trick. Keep a little bit of the cooking water of the pasta. I just kept it in here, we're going to use it. So that's the timer for our pasta. It's ready to go. We're going to strain it. We got the potatoes and everything in here. Okay. So now, very simply, we don't need to go back to the stove or anything. We're just going to, this one is cold. It's starting already to change a little bit the color, that's normal. One thing that I didn't mention before, if you're making too much of this and you want to keep it for next time, you can put it in a jar or in a airtight container.
Come sta diventando?
Verde.
Fammi vedere.
Guarda. My son is asking me questions. So you can put it in an airtight container and just cover it with a little layer of olive oil, and it will stay in the fridge for a few days. It will change a little bit color, but it will still be good to eat. So we're just going to put the pasta in this. More cheese on top, and this, as I said before, is my own sort of interpretation of it. It doesn't want to be the traditional recipe. And then we're just gonna go and stir it in here, and that's one. You can add a little bit of the cooking water. I measure how much oil I used, and I ended up using about 120 mils of oil. I measured the leftover, and see it's mixing all together. You don't need to go back on the stove or anything. You can add a little bit more water. And that's it. That's a beautiful, beautiful smell coming. And ready to eat again. Look at this, nice and creamy. Just gonna put it there. Dani, com'è? È buona, sì o no? No answer. Alright, enjoy!